A Fox News alert, the Sheriff's Department now says people who helped those parents of the suspected Michigan school shooter hide could be facing charges next. Jennifer and James Crumbly pleading not guilty to involuntary manslaughter charges after they were found hiding in a warehouse less than a mile away from the Canadian border. The couple in tears in court.
I understand that you are charged in count 2 for the death of Tate Meyer. Involuntary manslaughter, which is punishable by up to 15 years in prison and or up to a $7,500 fine and mandatory DNA.
I understand.
I gotta tell you guys, I mean, doesn't all of this just seem very bizarre? How does a prosecutor go on TV and announce charges before connecting with the Sheriff's Department to let them do the job and find these people so that we don't have a nationwide manhunt? And now we're expecting more charges. Laura, listen to what the sheriff just said just a short while ago about those new charges.
We believe they were assisted in that location to get there, to get in. And we're gathering that information, and we're going to have the totality of that done fairly soon and present that to our prosecutor for potential charges for either aiding and abetting or obstruction of justice.
So we had this nationwide manhunt, I mean, costing taxpayers a ton of money. Laura, what do you think, what do you make of this case so far and how this prosecutor is handling it so far?
Well, I mean, it's a terrible case. Obviously, at the top of it, you have 4 dead high school students. You have a 15-year-old kid who obviously was very troubled, obviously was crying out for help in various ways, did not receive the help he needed, went and committed this egregious act. And then his parents, instead of being there for their child, in obviously one of the moments of need of his entire life, if you ever want to be there for your kid when they're in a situation like this, they tried to flee. It was pretty clear they were trying to make it to Canada. And now, so it's not just the 15-year-old involved. It's not just the parents involved. Now, you just heard there from the Sheriff's Department, now there are people who possibly aided and abetted them, who were possibly helping them try to get to the Canadian border. I think you're right to point out the prosecutor in this case. I think this is a mess. I don't think it ever should have come to this point, to exactly what you were saying, Aisha. But look, it is just a terrible situation all around. I think every time we find ourselves with a school shooting like this, we all say this is horrific, this is terrible. This one, above all, though, seems incredibly messy, right, and it doesn't seem like it needed to be that bad.
Yeah, it didn't have to be this bad. And I want to come to you, Leo, about, you know, the chances for the prosecutor to really get these parents on any sorts of charges. You know, listen to what she said about their culpability in all of this.
Both defendants were aware that he was searching ammunition on his phone at school. Mrs. Crumbly texted, LOL, just, I'm not mad, just next time don't get caught. They were called to the school and about their son's drawing, which clearly depicted threats and acts of violence. And instead of disclosing to the school that he had full access to this weapon, they chose not to. They chose not to take their son home. They chose not to tell anybody that he might be dangerous.
Okay, LOL, you know, I won't get mad, you know, just don't get caught. How much of a burden is there on the prosecutor to prove that these parents knew that their son could be harmful?
A big burden on the prosecution, and I want to make sure this prosecution hears me on Fox News. Look, prosecutor, don't play politics with this case. This is not about the Second Amendment. You know, Aisha, I got upset with her when she said the gun laws in Michigan are woefully inadequate. That's not what a prosecutor is supposed to do. You're supposed to seek justice. Don't use, if the parents are wrong, you charge them with intentional voluntary manslaughter. But it's not about guns. It's not about the Second Amendment. I want to make sure that's clear.
But Leo, it always happens. That always happens, right? We always see that happen.
And you saw the prosecutor, she's bucking, honestly, to be a political figure in Michigan. That's not her job. Get justice. There's been a tragedy here at this school. There needs to be justice brought, but don't play politics with the Second Amendment.
All right. Joey, you know, the sheriff went on Fox and Friends this morning and said something. It was kind of a bombshell to me, really, that they've been dealing with these kinds of threats every week. And since the shooting, they're now getting hundreds of these kinds of threats. I mean, it's absolutely mind-boggling as what's happening with these kids. This young man had a disturbing past. We hear about this all the time, that there were warning signs, there were red flags. Where do you think the disconnect is? And to Leo's point about the conversation always going into the gun law side of the story, why don't we talk enough about the mental health part of it, too?
Well, we're in a place where all of our schools are stressed, right? We have parents at school board meetings that are upset because schools are pushing critical race theory. We have a place where teachers aren't going to work because maybe the district mandates them be vaccinated. Kids aren't coming to school. This is a powder keg environment in our country where it should not be. Schools are legitimately places for us to learn and grow, appreciate each other, and learn what kind of person we're going to be. But that takes parents as well. It's not the teacher's job to raise our kids. That's our job. And every detail that comes out about this case seems like the parents either had no idea who their son was or were just purposefully negligent, maybe in denial. Leo's absolutely right. When I saw these charges, I thought, well, you know, like, how is she going to charge them with manslaughter if you can't prove that they knew their son had this intent? And how's she going to charge them, I guess, going all the way to the top with manslaughter as opposed to negligence, negligence with a firearm, reckless endangerment maybe? There are so many places where these parents went wrong, but it seems like going straight to this manslaughter charge is exactly like Leo's saying. It's going for politics. But what we should be doing is try to change the behavior of people and make parents have an idea where their children are and understand the responsibility that comes with that. That's what we should be trying to do, and that's how you honor these children that were tragically taken from us for absolutely no good reason. I mean, I want to look back at the school and say, wait, you guys put him back in class after these incidents? Like, where's your responsibility in this?
Yeah, I just want to circle back to Laura real quick, because I know you're a mom, Laura, and you've got two beautiful young kids, not yet in school. One day they will be. I mean, do you think that there is enough being done to really understand what kids are going through? Because it always seems like there's red flags. We always hear about it after the fact, though.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. It's very scary for parents, and actually my kids are in school. They're in preschool, but they are in school. Look, I want to go back to something that Joey just talked about. This is, at the end of the day, about good parenting. I think you need to know what your kids are doing. You need to know who your kids are. And there has been a disintegration of sort of the core values in America, in parenting in so many ways, whether it's manners, respect, accountability, things that 30 years ago or so were really instilled in all of us, and it seems like those have degraded over the past several decades. And look, who knows if that is at the end of the day what causes this, but it certainly leaves room for very troubled kids like this. And I think it's something that we as a society need to focus on more: core values, the family structure, and really taking responsibility at home for your own child and making them feel responsibility themselves. So for me, that's something that I plan to instill in my kids. And look, they're very young, but I think every single parent in America thinks about this when they send their kids to school. It is a really scary prospect.
Absolutely.
Leo, you want to jump in?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
Sorry.
well, just as a former school teacher, I understand everything that everyone has said is absolutely on point. The key here is that this should be a criminal trial on the facts, not on a hidden agenda. And that's my biggest concern. And what's gone on in the last 48 hours, it's a comedy of errors. The lack of communication between the prosecutor and the sheriff department is clear. There's a lack of communication. The motivation, I hope, is not political.
Yeah, real quick, I just want to say the problem here isn't so much the way the technical things the parents have done. For example, my son's 12 years old. All the guns in my home are locked away, and he knows that.
Right.
He can't get to them without my access. With that being said, I would absolutely trust my son with a firearm in a controlled environment. The difference is I know what's in my son's cell phone. I know what's in my son's heart. I talk to my son every day. I know where he is in life. I know when he's struggling, when he isn't. Well, that's parenting. That's not just about, it's not just good, it's about doing it right.
Yeah.